Hello. If you're asking yourself why do I look so good? I have a few answers for you. One of them is sunlight. I'm sitting in front of the sunlight and not during the evening on my bedroom floor, even though this is kind of also the bedroom. And second answer is that maybe my hair is clean and I don't look quite like I've been dragged through the hedge. And because also today is my day of rest and relaxation, whatever day, all that means. Yeah, you know that book, which is actually quite a good book, My Year of Rest and Relaxation. So I feel like today is kind of my day of rest and relaxation. I mean, the day is not enough. A day is not enough. Also, I'm kind of speaking too fast. Don't know why. But yeah, it's kind of this moment that I'm trying to use for, well, now I've adjusted myself and the height is not right. Okay, like this. So yeah, kind of like this day that I'm trying to use for my own living a little rather than just writing. Because, being looking like you've been dragged through a hedge is one thing, making basic English mistakes is also a thing. But maybe something more cheerful or something like a bit more different could be fine as well. But yeah, um, I kind of wanted to do this video for a few days now, and I thought it was a good idea to kind of give you an example a bit of what I mean when I talk about certain things. And this particular thing is grabbing the voice of the story. And this is a very particular thing because grabbing the voice, what does that mean? Grab the voice. Which voice? What voice are we grabbing? Like about what kind of voice are we talking about? And I feel like when you begin writing something, it's paramount to just grab onto this voice, and it's paramount to be able to hold on to that voice for as long as you need, or at least for like a few pages. Because if you don't quite, like, if you don't sound, I can't even explain, like, if your rhythm, if your the thing you're writing doesn't sound like you want it to be, like you need it to be, it's very hard to continue because you feel like you're kind of like speaking not quite in the way that you would like. And I feel like it's almost impossible to explain. So I felt like I just would give you an example, and that would be that. So I like a very weird thing happened to me where I try to read someone else's work, and sometimes I can. Sometimes when I'm actively writing my own, like I really can't. I really can't like get into other people's thing because it's either too close to my own, or I simply just can't. Like I can't even explain. Like, not that I feel jealous, even though there is a bit of that. I do feel a bit jealous. It's true, but like, it's kind of like it's like radio when you are trying to compose your own music and the radio is interfering, you know. Or it's when someone else's music is kind of like similar to what you want to compose, and you're like trying to compose it, and your brain rebels against it. But let me like read the very beginning of that novel and then read like the writing voice I kind of grabbed after that. I might also actually have stolen, by the way, that voice, but I don't think I've stolen it, you know. So it's a very short like I will tell you what the author is and what the novel is later on. Okay, for 4 minutes. Okay, let's go. This is the very first chapter and the very first sentence and the very beginning. The first time we have sex, we are both fully clothed at our desks during working hours, bathed in blue computer light. He's uptown processing a new bundle of microfiche, and I'm downtown handling corrections for a new Labrador detective manuscript. Can you feel the rhythm of it? I can. He tells me what he ate for lunch and asks if I can manage to take off my underwear in my cubicle without anyone noticing. His messages come with impeccable punctuation. He's fond of words like taste and spread. The empty text field is full of possibilities. By the way, I've quoted that sentence in one of the previous videos. The empty text field is full of possibilities. That's quite good. Of course, I worry about IT remoting it to my computer or my internet history warranting yet another disciplinary meeting with HR. But the risk, the thrill of a third pair of antennae eyes, the idea that someone in the office with that sweet post-lunch break optimism might come across the thread and see how tenderly Eric and I have built this private world. It's beautiful, honestly. In his first message, he points out a few typos in my online profile and tells me he has an open marriage. And here's where I stopped reading. Not because of the open marriage, not because of the dating, not because of the story. No, because I felt like, you know, so sometimes I do that where I feel it, and I'm like, I gotta get onto my own stuff, and let me, And I started writing the thing I was writing, and I started like with that voice myself. I wouldn't say it's the same, but basically, I will read you also an extract of what I've written, sorry, and you will tell me, Not all of it will probably stay in the final text. Not all of it you know, is good, but I just want to give you an example like of that thing, that cadence, that rhythm I was hearing and I was kind of fucking with, to be perfectly honest with you. And I kind of wanted to steal, but not to steal, just to kind of compose my own melody. And I could feel the melody coming, and that's what I wrote. I really hope that the camera on my phone doesn't die because I feel like this is going to be like a good illustrative purposes video. Okay, so I will not change because you want me to. I will not change because you fucking want me to. Words on the page, but it's true. They're true. I'm thinking with an intensity of a viper, of a witch, of a woman obsessed by words. Why, it's true, I always have been. I feel like I borrowed someone else's voice. I feel like this voice is not mine. I feel like I've suddenly heard what my voice sounds like in English, my writing voice, I mean. It doesn't sound bad. It doesn't sound half bad. It might even sound good. Calm, cold. No, I think it's like calm. Okay. It might even sound good. Calm, detached. Like I'm feeling a story that is not mine. So sorry. Like I'm telling a story that is not mine. You can hear the similarities, right? Because I'm sort of telling a story, because I am sort of telling a story that is not mine. I'm using English as an instrument here in a measured, careful way. Like people take on the accents of others, I take on people's rhythm. I take on the flow of their prose because it's useful to me. Because this is what I need to write my novel in English. That's not it. That's not all. I didn't even think it was possible before, but now I know that it is. Out of all the people I've talked to online, out of all the guys I've met, only one noticed that I pieced my sentences in a particular way. Only one noticed that there is a flow to them, a rhythm, a cadence. Only one said, I like the way what you say is measured out. Is it only for me that you do it this way? No, I wanted to respond. Don't make this about you. Not everything is about you. But I responded, of course, because I was agreeable that way at the time. Because I was 26 and wanted to please him. We didn't have sex, not with that one. We didn't even meet. But I do remember what he said and the fact that you noticed. See? So basically, this is, well, maybe I might read a bit more, but see. I do remember what he said, what a lot of them said, how a lot of them made me feel. And I'm going to write about it. I am, in fact, writing about it again and again. This is what this book is going to be about: online dates, meetings with strangers, hoping to get something out of them while they're hoping to get something out of me. Hoping to conjure magic from thin air, hoping on that chemistry that lifts you off the ground and lights you on fire. You know the one. You know the one if you've lived it. As my sentences flow, I wonder, can I keep this flow up until the end? Can I possibly write a whole book in English? I not only can, I have to. I have to talk to people in a language spoken so widely over the world because I want my ideas to live and be spread in that language. I wonder if I have to rewrite my whole book in English from beginning to end and from start to finish, or from the finish to the start. I have a different voice now, a more cynical, more measured, more reserved voice. A voice that knows what it's talking about, a voice that comes to me and I don't even question. I write it down, and I get on with my work. I get on and I continue to take on the lake and the shed, the inspiration and the willingness to actually work on the words, the desire to be great, the desire to survive as an author and as a human, the desire to expand past my current life that is driving me insane. See? So that might have been good or bad or whatever, but you can feel the book, by the way, was Raven Leilani Luster. Surely a great book. But you feel like when it's too close, when I'm kind of borrowing stuff, when it's kind of intense and it's flowing kind of in an intense way, you kind of almost think, have I really borrowed someone else's voice? Have I really, you know, have I really borrowed it? I don't know. But what I know is that that was not bad. And what I know is that Raven inspired me to do that. And what I know is sometimes you hear the melody and you have your own melody and you hope to God it's not the same thing. But that voice that you grabbed from the first page or the second page or the third page, when you kind of feel that you're sure that this is your shit and you got to continue with that, that's the moment when the magic happens.